This question is for those who understand the true definition of neutralization. Neutralization is the reaction of acid with a base to produce salt and water, right? That is the definition. But we have different acids, and during neutralization, the acid produces hydrogen ion, while the base produces hydroxide ion. This hydrogen ion and hydroxide ion will react to form water. And that is the ionic equation that the question wants you to write. Not different neutralization equations, because we have different acids and bases. So the answer to the question is the ionic equation of formation of water, because this particular reaction takes place in all acid-base reactions. So you simply write H plus aqueous plus OH minus aqueous to yield water, liquid. As simple as that. This is the ionic equation that takes place in all acid-base reactions. For instance, hydrochloric acid plus sodium hydroxide. Hydrochloric acid produces H plus. Sodium hydroxide produces OH minus. And this is the water that is formed. Tetraoxosulfate 6 acid reacts with potassium hydroxide, which is a base, to form salt, potassium tetraoxosulfate 6, and water. And if you look at the equation, the same ionic equation occurs. Sulfuric acid produces hydrogen ion. Potassium hydroxide produces hydroxide ion, and this is the water formed. Another example is carbonic acid reacting with a base, calcium hydroxide, to form the salt, calcium carbonate, and water. The same ionic equation. Carbonic acid produces hydrogen ion. Calcium hydroxide produces hydroxide ion, and the two collapse to give us water. And that is why the equation is called equation of neutralization. So there are so many equations of neutralization, but one thing keeps repeating itself: hydrogen ion plus hydroxide ion to yield water. Here is another equation: hydrochloric acid neutralizing sodium trioxocarbonate 4 or sodium carbonate. The carbonate produces the sodium, and hydrochloric acid produces the chlorine to form salt. The hydrogen ion from hydrochloric acid and hydroxide ion from sodium carbonate that attacked water will form water. And then, because sodium carbonate is a carbonate, there is another byproduct, carbon 4 oxide. The same thing happens there. Another equation is equation of reaction of ethanoic acid with sodium hydroxide. So if you look at all these equations of reactions, the same thing here is maintained, and that is why it represents the ionic equation for neutralization.